but it worked for me. Yeah, so let's do what we gotta do. You can download it and upload
Yeah,
it to your YouTube channel. That's
that's what
all.
I'm gonna
That's what
do.
we do.
But without further ado, welcome to another episode of Miracle Mindset for Men. I am your host, Heru Dre, aka Dre, aka Handsome Heru. Today I have a very special guest this evening. I want y'all to give it up for my brother, my friend, my numerologist, King Simon.
What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up, my brother? How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm feeling great. I'm doing exceptionally well. How you doing this evening?
Good, man. I'm feeling good. Hey, great show with Brother Rich. That was a good show. I watched it, and just to see where y'all was at with it, and it was great. Great. I'm glad you. I mean, you're building your channel, and that's what it takes: consistency. I've been on YouTube for like 13, 14
Mhm.
years, so it takes consistency, man. Like he told you, got to be consistent,
Oh yeah.
persistent in building this thing up.
Yeah, for sure. I'm enjoying doing this. I just found out about StreamYard. I've been seeing how to do layouts and how I want to do my videos and how I want my background to go. So each uh
Yep.
each episode, I'm progressing more and more and get more creative ideas of where I want the show to go as far as put my message out there. Because this is
Right.
Men's Mental Health Month. And it's
Yes, it
also
is. Yes.
Father's Day month too. So it actually goes
And Black Music,
hand in hand.
and Black Music Month, and Black Music Month.
They have Black Music Month. There you go. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of stuff that's
Put it
going
all.
on. So I just think that this is the time now for me to put the message out there, especially this month. And I had it in my mind and I had an idea like, I want to start getting different guests on my show who I consider to be prolific Black men in the community. And I want to get their point of views on, the mental awareness that's going on with the men, the depression, the suicide, the homicide, and things like that. So, I'm just reaching out
Yeah.
to different people, just getting their point of view because a lot of people may not be able to relate to the things that I can say, but they may can relate to the things y'all may say.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Yes. That's good. Hey, I'm going to connect you with Dr. Valentine. I think you need an
yeah,
elder like him on there.
for sure. I would love to have Dr. Valentine on here. Oh, I would love that.
People keep on forgetting that he's a holistic teacher first, and then mesh the metaphysics. So he definitely he does counseling for mental health and all that. If Dr. Africa was still alive, I would definitely, because Dr. Africa was one who was a psychiatrist for 13 years, and a lot of people don't know he was in psychotherapy for many years and left it alone after a while. But it's a serious thing, and he used to tell me, Dr. Laila Africa used to tell me, I remember in his house, he said, "Yo, King," he said, "Yo, we used to have to." All the psychotherapists had to go and defuse what they was going through that whole week. Every week they had to talk themselves down, talk in a circle, talk to each other, talk each other down from the mental stress and mental health clients that they had. So big up the New Diamonds in the building. What's up, New
Hey, what's
Diamond?
up, New Diamond? That's my homegirl, man. That's my sister. I love her.
Yeah, yeah. She's a
Yeah,
special soul. I just thought about her too, like a couple hours ago about meeting her on the mountain. I think I don't know if she came to the lab, but I think I met her before. I'm not sure. But so I mean, I'll be busy at all these events, believe me, because I'm also security minded. So I'm always so people might think sometimes I think I'm standoffish, but my mind I was raised with Dr. Khalid and various other people, so I'm always watching, and I don't like to be distracted because I'm protecting not just my own back, I'm watching other people's back, and because you don't know nowadays, you don't know who's coming, So I'm and that's a mental health thing. I was just thinking about it because trolling is a form of mental health. When you troll people,
yeah,
that's a form
no,
of mental health.
no, you ain't lying about that. Like, yeah, they need some damn help. Okay, they need some damn help. But
And people troll me, and people troll me just because of my smile. People troll me just because of how they experience me at an event. Because I'm helping Rich out. I'm on posts. I'll shake your hands after I'm finished and do what I got to do. But don't obstruct me on my post because we was taught to walk this post in a perfect manner, keeping always on the alert in the Nation of Islam back in the day. So I'm always on the alert. I stop people from sneaking in. I had to tell the security over there to watch them. You know, I put the security on them. Those people that are paid to do that, because I'm not doing that no more. We had to pick people up and throw them out once sometimes back in the day. So I ain't doing all that. We pay people, you escort them. I could be the extra eyes just to help them out.
Yeah,
That's
no,
me.
facts. And you know, and we need more men like that. And not just like at events, but just like period.
Everywhere.
Because you know,
Yeah.
and today's time, it seems like it has gotten a lot worse. And there's like no type of structure or support for these men to stop them from making these disagreeable decisions, right? And
Yeah.
that's why this was the whole point of me making this podcast, because you know it's been a lot of things I've been seeing, I've been experiencing, and it's like I need to make a change.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was one of those things where, like, you know what, after I got the confirmation from you and Rich with the numbers, I was like, yep,
Yeah.
okay. I was like, why run away from it? I might as well go ahead and walk in my purpose, and it's a good feeling.
No, and I'm proud of you, brother. That's what your numbers told me, because I tell people you're not the numbers, but the numbers are here to guide you. And you being born 624 is a number that's supposed to communicate, but also communicate healing. And that's what this 24 is all about. Two numbers that add up to a number 6, which deals with companionship, discipline, and healing. All together. That's the story that the number 24 tells to me. 2, 4, 2 is companionship and balance. 4 is discipline, order. And the number 6 that it adds up to deals with healing, truth, justice, reciprocity, healing. So it was just a natural thing until you stepped out into your glory. That's up to you. If you choose not to do it, that's you allowing your energy that's here to guide you, whether it's through your astrology or your numerology, is you denying your own power to step up and do what you're supposed to do. And it can lie dormant if you want. If you want it to lie dormant, it can. It's not going to go away from you. It's just at every interval of your life, it's going to remind you what you're supposed to do all the time. Even when relationships, because you attract women and people that need help and healing a lot. And you know that.
Yeah. I have experienced that. Yeah.
They'll tell you their whole life story and stuff. They'll tell you, people come up to you and tell you their whole life story to you, because they feel that they need balance, and you come with balance. You do well in theater if you went into theater also. You do well in being a one-man play or producing something. And then you got the beauty. I don't know of any Aquarius that I've known in history that wasn't very handsome. And people like Bob Marley, born under the number 6. You understand? Very handsome. Lenny Williams, very handsome man that was able to just pull women, but it's how you use their frequency is going to be how important it is. It's not about manipulation, because you can go down that road. Manipulate. That's why Bob had all his women and had children like that. You know, you can do it, but it's telling you, no, the 2 and the 4 are saying, be compassionate, understand companionship, and be disciplined first. Then you attract the women and guide them wherever they got to guide them, even if to help them with their own relationship by helping men get on their mental path. Then your alignment numbers are 30 when you add that 6 plus that 24. 30 is about expression and expansion and communication. So doing this is very important to you. It's going to be very important. Writing your book is going to be important too when you put it out.
That's going to be a whole other project I'm going to be looking into in the future. I ain't going to say the near or far, but in the future. Yeah.
Hey, look, you got Canva right now. You could write it like that. Just write your experience. The only story you can tell right now is your story. My first book, No Promotion is Bad Promotion, was my story in the promotional world, because I started promoting from 12 years of age. That's my story. I'm not in clubs anymore, so I can write about it now. I'm outside the club. I'm not womanizing and bugging out no more. So, like, it's my story. You know what I'm saying? No promotion is bad promotion. Just spell my name right. It's my story.
Yeah. No.
And I'm making money. I'm making money from my story, because I'm not even in the club no more. I'm not doing the big New York clubs and festivals no more. I'm doing conscious events and all that. And even in the conscious event, I still have to be very careful, because women like power, and sometimes you got some F boys in the conscious community. You gotta be real.
No, that's true.
And and that's mental. It's all mental. It's all mental. It's all mental. It's because of even me being as womanizer. My father was one until he got himself Christianized or religified, and he stopped and had to be controlled through religion. And that's what helped me too. Islam helped me. Ansars helped me. 5% Nation, Rasta, all that stuff helped me, and to make me a better person today. I'm not married now. I went through three marriages because of still thinking that there was something out there to chase. There's other greener grass, more punani. Shabba used to say, love punani bada, low punani bada. I mean, I was in the reggae world. I was in the hip hop world. So, I was in all those worlds. So I know how it was. No Diddy though, no Diddy.
That's a no
No
Diddy.
Diddy. No Diddy.
Oh man.
No,
Oh man.
sir.
I'll be honest with you though. Like outside of the stuff they say he did, I would have loved to have went to a Diddy party. I,
Well, his parties. Remember, there was a first party, and
right.
then there
I
was the
knew it was
after
the
party. So
first
yeah,
party, not the
I
after
would have
party.
loved to go to the. I wouldn't have gone to the after party, but I would have definitely went to the first party. The first. I met Diddy and Biggie years ago at the
Uh,
tunnel, but because the friend of mine was the manager of the tunnel, but I didn't like the dark, airy look of the tunnel. So I came there early. Diddy and all of them was already there, but they came. Brother Ray introduced me to Diddy, and they gave me a pound. They had a Moet bottle in their hand, and they just disappeared in the dark. They just vanished. I'm like, God
this,
damn, what the
this is
hell?
from New York.
In New York, it was in New York it's a club, a very vintage club called the
Okay.
Tunnel back in the day. Yeah, I've been there, and I was running SOBs in the 90s. He was running, my boy was managing the Tunnel, named Brother Ray. Everybody know him, Jamaican Ray. And he invited me out. I used to invite him out to my club, and we used to just exchange because he loved the reggae music, and I loved the hip hop music, so we used to just exchange and get in for free at different clubs. But yeah, they disappeared. They was all in shades too, in the dark club, both of them in shades.
Wow.
Crazy. So I was like, and I told Ray, I said, I'm not feeling this vibe. I'm getting out of here. Not tonight. But go ahead, man. I'm sorry. I don't want
No,
to take over your
it's
show,
cool,
man. Go
man.
ahead, bro.
Listen, we just having a conversation, letting my audience get to know you a little bit. For anybody who
Yeah.
don't know who King Simon is, I met King Simon for the first time officially. Unofficially was that Brother Rich album release party in Atlanta a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Club
Club
363.
363, yeah. And
Yeah.
it was like a high because he was doing a whole bunch of number reads and stuff, so I didn't really get a
Yo,
chance to talk to him.
yo. From the time I sat down from 9 o'clock, they didn't stop until
Yeah,
1 o'clock.
but when I
People
got a
rushing
chance
me.
to actually talk to you was at the Gathering of the Masters last year.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes, sir. And we talked on Rich's show too. We talked on
yeah,
Rich's show. On
yeah.
Rich. Yeah. So yeah,
But
that's
in
good.
person, like I got a chance to talk to you, chop it up with you, exchange energies and stuff. So it was a good vibe.
Yeah,
It was like
yeah.
one of those moments where I felt like this is where I needed to be, and I think a
That's
lot
right.
of us we all felt that way. Like the Gathering of the Masters, like those 2 days just felt like home. It's like we were like in a place with
Yes.
people who are just like us and think like us on the same frequency. And it felt like a family
Right.
reunion. Like you just had your long lost cousins and you ain't seen them and talked to them in a long time. I even shedded a tear when I left. Like when I got on that plane and I knew I was heading my way back home to Detroit, I actually shedded a tear because I didn't want to leave. It was
Right.
the
Yeah.
feeling was so undescribable. It was ineffable. I just couldn't explain it. But anyway,
You came at the right time, man, because back when the first I was talking about it. If you watch me and Black Dot, we was talking about the first gathering of the masters. Yo, it was some contention because of the Black Power movement and the metaphysics. So it would rub people the wrong way back in those days. Although because everybody was like supporting each other's Black movement or supporting either. But nowadays, this is the best time for Rich to bring that out because it was Dr. Valentine that started the gathering of the masters in
mhm.
his house. A lot of people know that is in his house is brownstone at that time. So it's really something that had grown up and became an adult now. And now it took young brothers from Brother Rich back in the day watching that happening or hearing about Dr. Valentine doing it to now. That's why it's very important what you say to young people, what you say to people in the teens and they're young. But make sure you talk to them respectfully, so you don't know what they're going to do in the next 20 years. This is 20 years later. Rich got it around 19. This information at 19. So he was doing it from that, and now he's 40-something years of age. So you never know what, and I myself, people never know what I was going to do from getting into the 5%, the Ansars, and the Nation of Islam, and coming out here and still maintaining that form of consciousness and discipline even at these venues and these events. So it's important.
That was very important. So I think now that was like another life-changing experience for me, and it just brought me in the space and place where I am now. So
right.
now that I have a whole new set of eyes now, and I can see things from a different lens, I want to help people from how I see things. So my question to you, so today's episode is the manifestation of a masculine mindset. So my question to you is, what do you consider being a masculine man in today's society?
Staying focused. That's why I got this shirt. I made this shirt ago. Stay focused. Staying focused, staying disciplined, and paying close attention to your environment. Because like Dr. Valentine says, man and woman is not a job description. It's an experience. It's an experience. We're supposed to experience life as men and women on this planet. And sometimes we create different job description of who is it because of bone structure and all of that, and because of the nurturing nature of women and the protective nature of man, which you naturally fall into. And then you got, in this day and time, you got some men that become feminine, or have brought out a lot of feminine energy because they was raised by their mothers and their grandmothers, and nothing wrong with that. As long as in that society, the masculine energy can be supported by the feminine energy, as well as the feminine energy be supported by the masculine energy. That's how yin and yang work. So in this day and time, because everything is kind of misconstrued in certain ways, you don't know how to identify what is they say alpha, they say beta, they say sigma. They got all these Greek terms for what an alpha male and a this man and a this man. But, like one of my friends who used to be a former stripper, who's now a comedian, said, his name is Dante Nero, he's a comedian, but he was one of the top strippers in New York called Mandingo. And he trained martial arts with us so he could protect himself back in the day in the club, because women would come after him and he would have to defend himself against men that was waiting outside. So he was out there in the club. We was all in the dojo back in the day where I was a promoter. He was doing this thing. But he said, this is what he said, Heru. He said, I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male. I'm a better male. Because he knows how to balance the two. So you're not an alpha male. Remember, the alpha male was pushed and given to the animal world for the wolves and the gorillas and all that kind of stuff. That was the teaching. If you watch Animal Channel back in the day, and the alpha male comes and claims his territory and he beats on his chest and destroys and beats the other male down. The lion, all of that stuff. When in actuality, when women call themselves alpha women and men call themselves alpha, you're comparing yourself to animals. That was a theory that they placed on animals. When you're supposed to find balance, you're supposed to understand the yin and the yang inside of man and woman, but play your role. And if sometimes the role bounces back and forth, a quote unquote better male or alpha male, let's say the alpha and the beta male come together, becomes the better male. That better male knows that if he's not working at this time and his wife is still at work, or his wife is doing something with the children, he can still wash the dishes. He can still cook. Even if he can't do it because she's taking care of the babies, or she's taking care of her business online in this day and time, or have a business outside of the house. You never know. So we gotta find balance now. And in this day and time, because of our mentality, our mindset has gone been perverted by an enemy. Enemy has perverted our mindset. We are remotely controlled by someone who raised us after so-called colonialism, after so-called slavery, and remotely controlling us through movies, media, television, all the different stuff that they're controlling us of. So we're acting like the enemy that is controlling us now, and we're fighting each other. So in this day and time, the positive aspect of a masculine male I would like to see more of is respect for themselves, because once you have respect and love for yourself, then you can respect and love others even more. That's what I would love to see more of, but again, some of us are by ourselves because we don't know who to trust. Some of the women are by themselves because they don't know who to trust. Women have more healing groups than men have. Our healing group is the dojo or the gym. That's our healing group, punching on a bag or picking up some iron. That can't be our healing. You know what I'm saying? But that's one way to level out, so you don't punch on your woman or punch on your children and punch through walls. I understand that too. You know what I'm saying? So, I know it's a long answer.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but
It's okay. I mean, I would like for you to be descriptive as much as you can, because
yeah,
I talked to Rich about this yesterday, and I
yeah,
also mentioned this on one of my episodes a couple months ago about forming a brotherhood, and I feel
yes,
like, man, we
yes,
need that. We need a place to have an outlet if stuff is not going right in a life, in a relationships, at work or whatever, because
yep,
you see a lot of people, like you said, they alone, they got to go to the gym or they in the house or whatever the case may be. And if you're alone long enough, your intrusive thoughts will start to come out. And then you'll start doing
yeah,
things that you don't have control over yourself. So I think that it's
right,
important to get a brotherhood, and not just anybody. You don't just go form any brotherhood or go
no,
get anyone. But I had a philosophy of the three type of the men that you want to have in a brotherhood. They got to have these three requirements. They got to be responsible, they got to be respectable, and they got to be righteous.
that's good.
Cause
That's,
you don't want nobody who's gonna tell you anything and then it leads you astray. You gonna do some messed up stuff. So
that's right.
I felt like that's something that needs to be pushed more. That's not talked about more. And what really gave me that idea, um, this guy I met at the gym. We got real cool and stuff, and I was telling him that I wanted to do this type of platform. He said, "That's good. We need that, especially for us black men, right?" He told me to go watch The Forge. It's a
Mm,
movie on Netflix. If anybody want to,
I gotta check it out. I didn't get to
yeah,
check that out.
it's a very, very, very good movie. It's about 2 hours. Like if you take out
Right.
the religious aspect and just get down to the narrative story of what they're really talking about, it's a powerful movie. And it was that gave me the idea, like, you know what? We need like a fellowship, like a brotherhood, like a community where men can have a space to have other men guide them into the right path. And when you see a kid on the street, pick him up off the street and bring him in and shape and mold him into the man he needs to be for this real world. So I think
Right.
that was important to brotherhood.
Well, what's so interesting? Me coming out of the Nation of Islam, that's what they did. The FOI, even back in Honorable Elijah Muhammad's days, they used to drive around and pick up homeless brothers and train them. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to pay people to come and listen to him. Pay them. Back in the day, it was $1 or $5 to pay to come and see the message. So he could hear this teacher, so he can help build it. Because, men ain't moving without some
That's
money sometimes.
true.
If you ain't getting them to certain places, if they can't get there, it don't make sense. So if you're not going to do any carpooling to get them from one place, we can talk all that manhood stuff, but if they got bills to pay, a phone bill to pay, a mortgage or a rent to pay, they're not going nowhere if they're struggling. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad used to pick women up out of the mentality of being a Negro or a whore or pimp or prostitute or whatever, and carry them. Now, you don't have to, he put the Islam on top of it, but he also put the mathematics on it. That's why he said mathematics is Islam and Islam is mathematics, and it stands true. And you could prove it at no limit of time, but you must take this mathematic and secure some luxury, good homes, friendship, money, and friendships in all walks of life. This is what he taught. So what you're saying is something that was done back in the 40s. You know what I'm saying? And without all the fanfare, without all the online social media access. This was none of that. You know what I'm saying? And he helped raise men. And we seen a Malcolm X come out of it. We seen a Muhammad Ali come out of it. We seen a Dr. Khalid come out. We see some very great men and women come out of it. Tanetta Muhammad, Ava Muhammad, some great people come out of this. So you don't have to have the Islam on it, but you could have that discipline. Yeah. You could have that type of discipline. They trained, they did martial arts, they trained to protect their women. Women trained also and knew how to cook, clean, and wash, and they also trained martial arts. In the nation, they got women doctors, they got women pilots, they got all that stuff in there that are still coming back to the sisterhood to talk to each other and balance each other out, converse with each other. They got captains and private soldiers to help guide them, and that was trained to guide them. And that's what we need. It doesn't have to be religious. Again, it doesn't have to be fully religious, but it does have to be spiritual. And people got to make sure that brothers come together and it can't be perverted and crazy, because right now it's real perverted and crazy, because you don't know who's coming into these circles, who want to turn out another brother and all that kind of craziness.
Yeah. And that right there is where these men have to be vetted into being they got to be vetted into being the man that they're supposed to be.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And what made me think of the title, The Masculine Mindset, you know, people, what I see and what I've learned about the 7 universal laws, and the last law was the law of gender. Right, you got the masculine and the feminine, but it never talked about man or woman. These were energies, and I think that people are getting these words mixed up with characteristics versus energies. Like, yeah, you can still be a masculine man. Like, you know, everybody's definition of masculine is different. I never heard nobody have the same thing. Women, for the most part, they have their idea of what masculine is. And then men have their own different definition of what a masculine man is, right? And I look at it like, well, we all have both. We got both the masculine and the feminine, because you know the masculine is the leader, the logic. You got the feminine, what is the nurturer, the caring part, the compassion, the empathy and stuff like that. And it's like we all have that, but depending on your original biostructure, right? you're gonna have one more than the other, and that's okay. We're supposed to have balance. Right. Like for me personally, I don't want a masculine, energy-driven woman if I'm a masculine, energy-driven man, because we gonna clash. I need the balance. So what masculine going on, this word being thrown around so frivolously, what do you suggest that the men out there do when it comes to women who call themselves masculine, as opposed to just being who they truly are?
You know, I'm 58 years in this realm, right? 15 cycles around this planet, and it's interesting that, you know, in the 60s or late 60s, 70s, there was a definitive understanding between what is masculine and what is feminine. Now it's kind of convoluted and mixed up and fixed up. And, you know, I feel that we need to go back to some of the ancient studies, whether it's the indigenous studies over here or the indigenous studies in Akibolan, and really, because I just got some recent books on the indigenous Arawak, Tainos, and all that kind of stuff. And they one thing about them, they knew the function of the community. the indigenous tribes here, the natives of here, the indigenous, they understood the function of community just like they understood it in Akibalan, or what they call Africa. And I think we need to get back to that study, because at one point in time, and I share this book all the time. This book right here. I like to show books. I like to show people that I'm not
Hey,
playing with people.
listen, I was showing books on a couple of my episodes because I be showing books like, hey, you ain't got to believe what I say. Take these books that I show you and go read them. If they help me, they can help you.
Exactly. This one here is called African Woman, the Original Guardian Angels.
Mm.
That Melanated Women by Dr. Barashango. This brother passed on. I got to meet him years ago back in the day in New York. And Dr. Barashango showed how melanated women were the epitome of beauty about 200,000 years ago, or 2,000 or more than that. But these women were the epitome of beauty with the Hottentot and the big backsides and the big breasts. They were the epitome of beauty, even throughout European. That's why they try to mimic and look like them. That's why when white women used to wear those kind of skirts that stuck out to mimic the derriere of a woman, of the original woman. And these kind of books helps to bring you back to who you actually are in all essence as a woman. And it also helps remind men of the glory and the greatness of women, and the glory and greatness of them when they insert or become one with them. And that's why women shouldn't misuse their femininity, just like men shouldn't misuse their masculinity, but needs to make it work together like yin and yang. Balance it out. Because yin and yang is not opposition to each other. They're complementary. They complement each other. And that's and yin and yang come from the Asian culture, from out of Asia and those different places. But there's a science behind that duality, so to speak. So I think it needs to be healed. And, Dr. Llaila Afrika said years ago, he said, look, it took us probably 400 years to get in it. It might take us another 400 years to get out of it. It's a shame, but people are trying. Every time we do try and build community for 30 years, they try to destroy us. We try to build different forms of Black Wall Street all over the United States, and they'll try to destroy that. People try to build communities to try to form that time. So what is it that the quote unquote enemy of our unity, what is it are they afraid of? There's something that's being afraid. They're afraid of something. Because if you was the enemy and I was the enemy, we would do the same thing to them. So we got to find where the enemy within us, what is hindering us to come together, and if we do come together, what are we going to build in order for our children's children to understand this and carry it on to the next generation? That may have been a long answer, but I'm sorry.
No, but I'm gonna piggyback off of that though, because you said something very interesting. What can we do? And
yes,
I'm the type of man that when there's a problem, the first thing I'm gonna do is look for a solution, right?
yes,
Because there's no point in focusing on the problem to make the problem worse than what it is.
exactly.
And what the solution to that would be is that we got to get out of the distractions. There's too many distractions, and we're not being distracted by the right thing. We're being distracted by the wrong things, right?
Yeah.
And I feel as if people don't have critical thinking either. They're letting other people think for them, and I think that's probably like the biggest downside to social media is that everybody is taking somebody else's thought and incorporating it in their own lives instead of having critical thinking. Now they're being ignorant to things and they're being indoctrinated based off of somebody else's thoughts. And that's probably not even that person's thought. They probably got it from somebody else too. So it's just trickling down from person to person to person. And I remember, and it's funny because I was thinking about that, and then 19 Keys had said something about critical thinking. He said you need to have a mind of your own. I'm like, that he in my head right now. Because when I listen to people, men, women, it don't matter. I'm like, y'all all sound the same. Like, do y'all not know how to think for y'all And I think that's a major problem is that people don't know how to think for themselves. And if they can learn to think for
No,
themselves, they can open their eyes, they can open their mind and see like all of this shit around us is bullshit. Everything that they doing is bullshit. Now we can separate ourselves from our oppressor or our enemy and we can come together. But it's gonna take time, like you said, it's gonna take a collective. But as long as the internet is out and if these videos stay relevant as long as they have, like Bobby Hemmett videos, he's been doing this stuff for years and people still share it. And ain't no telling what my videos might be out for years and people still share it and it can change over time. You know, as long as
yeah.
I'm in the
You're not going to change everybody, Haroon. You just got to change the ones that resonate with your energy. Not everybody listens to Bobby Hemmett, but those who are supposed to listen to him, they're going to listen to him.
Mhm.
Those who are not ready to listen to him, they're not going to listen to him. And that's what I've learned over the years of doing all of this. People not going to resonate with numbers and all that kind of stuff. Remember, back in the day, back a few years ago, brother Rich got in a little disagreement with Dame Dash over mentioning numerology to him online on the air. You know what I'm saying? And you ever done that? And he said, "You don't need it," but he don't realize that he does use it, but he doesn't understand that numbers is based on probability, statistics, and possibilities of what can
Mhm.
happen. Everybody uses it, even in the music business. You use it because there's a time to release music and there's a time not to release music. So when he got into that little thing, I started laughing. I said, man, then I looked at their numbers. I said, okay, now I see why they got into a little thing because so the numbers were telling me something. But again, going back to the point that yes, your information, my information, Brother Rich is going to be probably last the test of time. But again, many are called, few are chosen. Many are called, few are chosen. And sometimes it takes 300 people to defeat 10,000 people. That's what the movie 3,300
Mhm.
was all about. 300 warriors, and that's based on an old historical thing that Prophet Muhammad did against thousands of people. Just 300 of them fighting thousands of men and defeated them. So sometimes if 300 men and each one of the men or women in that war can take out 10 to 20 people, oh, you can beat 1,000 people. Definitely. And so if our stuff is shared eventually in the AI world and all that, I looked up on AI and I asked it, who was King Simon? Yo, it broke down my whole history of numerovation and all that. It went into that. I'm the founder of numerovation, the creator of this. Boom, boom.
Wow.
So it's there. It's there. Who's the founder of numerovation? If you ask your AI, ask it, who's the founder of numerovation? It's going to run it all down from when I even manifested that way. So it's going to be out there for a long time. And I look at those apparatuses like AI and see what they're going to tell me about me and what they might say about Rich or what they might say about Dr. Khalid or what they might say about Francis Cress Welsing. I look at those and those things will be because they're pulling from a universal and they see the algorithms of what's to come.
You know, it's funny you just mentioned her name. I just got this book today.
I got it right here. She signed my book back in the day. So yes, I got it right here. I love her. I love her. She was such a cordial. I gave her my book too, my first book of numerology. I gave her a signed copy before she passed
Yeah,
on.
I was
Yep.
listening to some of
So
her
yeah,
lectures. She was definitely a big influence on getting into the psychology of things when it comes to
exactly.
melanated men and the whole agenda why they trying to do it the way they trying to do it.
Yeah,
So I can't wait to start reading
that's
this
right.
book.
And I used to teach in Canada when I was living in Montreal, Canada. I used to teach out of that book at colleges. So I know that book back and forth to a certain extent because I was teaching classes out of there when I was in the Nation of Islam. Because Dr. Khalid introduced us to it, and I was on it in Canada, and there was a big racist thing going on in Canada, which it still is between the French and the English speaking people. But back in those days in the 90s, oh, it was something else. 93, 94, oh, it was something else back in
Man,
the day.
You know, King Simon, you had many lives, man. You had many lives. Like, sheesh. You did all that stuff in one lifetime.
Yeah, and that's why I know I'm not coming back.
Woo!
I know I'm not coming back to do this. I'm leaving my books and everything else. If I do have to come back, that means it must be an emergency. If I come back 3,000 years from now, it must be an emergency if I come back. But I don't plan on coming back.
No, I feel you. That's how I feel too. Like, I feel like if I don't answer to my purpose, it's gonna keep bringing me back here. Like, oh, you didn't learn from this?
Yeah.
Okay. Say that.
That's why the motivational speaker Les Brown say, live full and die empty. Live full of your dreams, your goals, and all of that, but die empty. So at your funeral, they said, man, that brother lived his life. He did his thing. And that's what they gonna say about me. I've been on stages in front of thousands of people. I've been here, I've been there, I've done this. I've done so much stuff. Just in America, between America, Canada, and the Caribbean alone, I did. I never been to Africa. I never been to just on this Western Hemisphere, I've done a lot and still doing it. And now we never really gonna, mentally, I'm never gonna really retire. I'm always gonna reinvent myself. Always. And that's what I tell people. We're not going to, because you want to reinvent yourself to something that you love to do more and more every day. So even if you love, as you get into your 60s, you love to garden, then hey, do your garden. You're going to be doing something. Do your gardening. Do your workout if you're still working out at 60. Jack LaLanne was working out all the way till his 90s, 80s into his 90s. Jack LaLanne was one of the biggest trainers back in the day, you know? He was pulling tugboats and swimming with it in his 80s.
Ooh,
go look him up, Jack LaLanne. Jack LaLanne.
Hey, he my inspiration right now. I'm gonna be doing that too. So this, I know we almost about to the hour mark. So this is my last question.
Yeah, no problem, brother.
How can a man manifest the masculine mindset?
How can a man manifest the masculine mindset? Going back within themselves, studying the history of other men that manifest, because sometimes we have to have that DNA explosion. Sometimes I will look back at a Dr. Khalid video. I will look back at a Elijah Muhammad video. Sometimes I look back at a Nkrumah video. Sometimes I look back at different videos just to remind me of what men was doing in order to build nations, defend nations, train. I watch a martial arts movie, a martial arts video of one of my old teachers and his teacher, because back in those days, we understood, in the 60s, they understood the job. You know, the elders didn't drop the ball. It's just that we have a formidable enemy. And we have to learn to, like Dr. Laila Afrika used to tell us, study the white man once and you'll never have to study him again, because he likes to repeat history. He's just repeating it in different levels, a different timeline. The name and faces may have changed, but the game is still the same. So you still got to know the enemy against masculinity. That's why, books like this by Dr. Baruti is very important. The homosexuality and the effeminization of African males. This book has a whole look how thick this book is. It has a whole bibliography. That's why I don't call nobody mentors, because that is an old mythology from out of Greece and Rome, where the mentors used to have sex with little boys. Mentor. Mentoring who? Who mentoring who? Who mentoring? We got to be very. And he gives you a bibliography not only from black scholars, he gives it from white scholars that taught about that mythology of who mentor with. I use the word jejna because jejna is the Ethiopian word that means accountable teacher and accountable guide. So every masculine male has to become accountable. You can't be Uncle so-and-so taking off your daughter or taking off your niece. You can't be Auntie so-and-so taking off your nephew or taking off your niece. You got to be accountable. I'm nobody's mentor. I'm nobody's mentee. Because in those Greek and freakish society, with the European type base Greek and freakish society, it was women taking off women also, because she had power. Oh, come on down and do me, lady. Come on, you got to do this for me. They do that. So this brother points it all out in the book, and he was also a professor at Morehouse, and he's right here in Atlanta with him and his wife has a school teaching young men how to play chess. So you need to get around people like him that understands the history of male strength, not just from an African perspective, but from an indigenous perspective. So yes, that's how we're going to get back our mindset, because it's a mindset you have to get back to. It has to be a nurturing mindset, because men do know how to nurture. It has to be a defensive mindset, a protective mindset, a healing mindset. They got to have all of the balance. And he'll tell you, back in his history, he used to drink a lot and go through all that. He wouldn't have been able to survive and have a marriage for that long if he didn't learn to heal and find the masculine mindset in its balanced way. And he has numerous books too. He has a whole lot of books. He don't just have one book. You know what I'm saying? But that book there, we got to know the problem so we can have the solutions to it. That's why Ian Labanza said, in every room, the solution is in the same room with the problem. Always.
Yes.
So you are the solution. I'm the solution. The women are the solution. But we got to come together, because right now we are in the age of the 2000 and the age of the women. But it's not to be, men are supposed to support it, but they're not supposed to be perverted in it and go against the women. We're supposed to support the balance and let women shine. But also women got to help us to be right there with them. Don't throw us away. They can't throw us away, because it's really predicated on men and women working together and finding the balance, because most of these downtrodden men was raised by single women. If you're being honest, a lot of them was raised by single women.
Yeah, me and Rich talked about that yesterday, and I asked him, like, how did he grow up to not be like the type of men that are raised by single women? And when he broke it down, like, his mom sent him to a Catholic school, and then his uncle came around. He hung out with his uncle, put on some Farrakhan. He listened to Farrakhan, so it's like, and I said that no matter how much women, and I'm not trying to rag on the women, because I love women. I love them. Right? No matter how much you feel like you can raise a boy to be a man, you can't. Because I feel like there, and I had an episode that was called Fatherhood, and I said that I believe that fathers are more important than mothers. I'm not saying mothers are not important, but I said if you just look at it from a general perspective, men teach their kids to prepare for the real world. Women, the mothers, they protect and nurture their kids. So at some point they would be hindering them at points of time, right? So that's why I feel like the mother's the protector, the father's the preparer.
That's right. I mean, from your perspective, that's absolutely right. 'Cause I was raised by a single mother too, that my father was in and out. So when I got of age, I ran away from home, but I didn't. I ran to Islam. I ran to go find other men that can guide me. I joined communities, because that's why we joined gangs back in the day. You know, gang members wanted to get me into their gang back when I was young, and I said, man, you don't know my mother. Because I know in the midst of the gang fight you want me to come to, she'll come downstairs and come and grab me by my hair and take me upstairs because of her strong father background, because she was raised by her father only, a single dad in Jamaica. She was raised by my mother. So she had that power. But I joined the 5% nation to get that manhood. Who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man, that maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe, father of civilization. Once they told me that at 14, it clicked. And then I went into the Ansar to be around men who are training and working out and protecting their community. Then I went into the Nation of Islam, be around men that are training and spiritually doing their praying and doing all that, finding balance. Because I had to run away. I left. You know, my mother, she got angry because I left, because she was trying to keep me, she wanted to keep me there and go through school. I got kicked out of school because of the lack of fatherhood and masculinity, doing the bull crap. And then I said to myself, I said to my cousin, Haru, I said, my cousin in Canada, I said, look, at 15, I said this to her. I said, yo, either I'm going to go to jail or I'm going to die. So I had to make moves in my own head. And she said to me, you know, recently, she said this like last year, she said to me, she said, you always made certain moves on your own and made decisions. because you needed to save your life. And yo, sometimes men have to make decisions in their own head because sometimes you got to walk at your own drum. And we know innately that we are dying if we're around too much feminine energy. We know that we're dying. Our masculinity is being suppressed if we're around too much. So we got to go balance it off. Go join a gang. Go join an organization. Go join the UIAN, the Marcus Garvey movement. Go join the Moorish movement. Go join the Hebrew movement. Go anything to keep us balanced. So yeah, man, it's
not a trouble.
Out of trouble. Go to gym. Go to join Planet Fitness. We want to boxing. We go on martial arts. I taught martial arts since I was young because of Bruce Lee and Jim Kelly. I've been into since I was young, since I was a child. We used to go out there and slap box with each other and do 52 blocks and all kinds of stuff when we was younger. When I was a child, I was doing that. So I still got the hand for it. You know? So it's a pleasure, man, that, I'm gonna connect you with Dr. Valentine, but you gotta make sure that computer, because he only do a computer, you don't do IG.
I know. So hopefully, everything is okay now because the live was set up and everything.
Yeah.
Said go live, and then when I sent you the link, it just said you said it wasn't working. So, but I figured out.
Yeah, it's going through problems. It's going through problems because it came up on my side. It's going through problems too. So I said, okay. They said give it a little time and all that. Usually those they probably doing a cleaning or something else. They rebooting themselves. So that's what they do.
Yeah. So, but
I'm proud of you, Haru. I'm proud of you. Proud of you.
I really appreciate you sharing this time. I'm really, really grateful that you decided to come on my platform and share the knowledge, help the men out there that really need it. I'm grateful and thankful, and I want to give you your flowers. I got to get that book too, so that's another book I'm gonna get because I'm trying to fill my office up with a lot of books I need to read.
Yeah, man, this is New Motivation for Mental Stability, a new motivational guide to recognizing mental instability and staying motivated. This is what we were talking about. That's why I wrote this book, because two of my friends took their life because they went through mental instability and didn't know how to talk, didn't know how to reach out, didn't know how to ground, didn't know how to go hug a tree or go train it out. Two of my friends took their own life, male and female, born under certain mental numbers that could, and I tell people, just because you're born under a mental number, don't mean that you're going to go down the negative edge. It's just that means you might have to find a little bit more balance. That's all. You just need to find it and get the therapy you need to go to therapy. I'm not against therapy. Matter of fact, this book is a good book called The Unapologetic Guide to Black Mental Health by Rita Walker. Good book.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? That's a good book.
Beautiful. Look who wrote it, the beautiful black woman. Rita, go get it. Charlemagne talks about it. I hit her up on IG. I'm trying to get her on my show because I love the book. I love what she shared. And don't be afraid to get therapy, brothers. Sisters, if you love your man, don't be afraid to get them therapy or go in and do couples therapy, because some of y'all need couples therapy before y'all even get married. That part. That part.
That's big. You preaching to the choir on that one. You preaching, brother. You preaching. Yeah, you preaching. Yeah, they do need that for sure. Everybody needs some type of therapy, even if you don't want to go see like a professional.
Yeah.
Just have somebody to talk to, an accountability partner.
Accountability partner, right? I did hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy helped me out a lot. Hypnosis helped me out. Because she gives you, asks you questions that you want to start clearing out of your subconscious, and it works. But you might have to take only 2 and 3 sessions. You don't have to take 10 sessions and be in her thing. No, 2 or 3 sessions, and she can help clear it out from the subconscious level. Her name is Kendall Cobb. Her Instagram right here is Hypnosis with Kendall. Okay. Hypnosis with Kendall. Good sister, man. I'm telling you. She's been doing it for 25 years, very caring, very so if you don't want to do the real solid therapist, you could go to hypnotic therapy or hypnosis therapy. Why not? Go into your head, because she's not going to turn you into a frog. She's going to have you jumping around acting like a chicken. She ain't doing all that. She wants to heal you and help you. 25 years she's been doing it. So she's good at what she does.
I might have to reach out to her. I might have
I'll send you her link. Let me see if I can put it in the chat right now so they can everybody can see it. Let me see. I know hypnosis. Oh, there it is. Hypnosis with Kendall. That's my sister right there. Hypnosis with Kendall. Good sister, Sagittarius sister. She's married to a dear friend of mine. She live in Canada. She do it over Zoom. She do it, she used to live in New York, but she moved to Canada. Yo, she had more white clients until she came on my show. She started getting black clients. My show, Dwan's show, Lloyd's show, but my show set it off for her to get more black clients. So black people had a stigma around any type of hypnosis and all that. When everything is subconscious and mental and dealing with the subconscious mind, it's all a duality you got to work with. So big up to her. She does a lot of great work.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I legit been looking for, somebody just said I legit been looking for a hypnotherapist.
Yeah, that's my accountability partner too. Yeah.
What's up, Roslyn? Good to see you. Shout out to Roslyn. No, she's good, and she's very sensitive to what she don't even do regression because regression therapy can be so harsh. Q Reeves does regression and certain people do, but she's been in it so long, longer than most of these guys, out 25, 26 years. She stopped doing regression because it can get real scary sometimes. So leave that up to Q Reeves, leave that up to Sister Adrian. Those are the ones that are still young and doing it and don't hang on, but she's so sensitive she don't want to do that, but she can really clear some way for you through hypnosis. So she's good.
Okay, cool.
We'll bring her back. If you want on your show, I can have on your show too. She's good people.
Okay, cool. And speaking of which, family, tomorrow I will be having Q Reeves on.
I didn't know.
I'll be having him on, so we're definitely gonna be having a discussion about the regression therapy and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's good, man. And I think if regression is like for the younger energy, the regression people, they can hold on and handle and get that off. And when you get older, like Kendall has gotten older, sometimes you got to be careful of your nerves. And I know she's born under a certain number that has to be careful of her nerves and as you get older, because sometimes you can hold on to some of that stuff that you're doing, But Q has his way of how to disseminate that and get it off of him if he don't want it around him. He has a good way. So big up to Q, man. He did something for a friend of mine already. So, he wanted to give it to me. And I said, nah, he needs it the most.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
But yeah, man.
Thank you, Keith Simon, once again for joining my platform. I'm really in gratitude and gratefulness and thankful that you are here. And I hope to see you soon and have you back on here soon, man.
Anytime you're ready, man, just let me know and make sure you upload it to YouTube and let me share it with my platform also. I've been sharing it everywhere. I've been sharing it anyway while we were talking. But we can share it on my platform so people can know that you're doing your thing, Haru. That's what I encourage you to do. I told you got to do it, man. The numbers tell me that, so I already know.
So I did what Billy Carson said: conscious thought times action equals manifestation.
Exactly. It's a whole T-shirt he got.
I'm gonna need to go on his website and get that. But
all right, beloved man, you be safe out there, man. All right.